Reality.
UFOs.
Science.
Consciousness.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
That might not be a real thing. The podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else in between, welcome back to the big show. It's That Might Not Be a Real Thing. I'm the hun guy with the fun guy, the Candyman. Kingsley's back. Kings,
I feel like we've been gone for a while, right?
What's up?
Been a couple weeks.
Danimal,
Maybe a little bit more than that.
the sweet baritone voice of Sean Macka. I don't even want to know what that thing would do to a clitoris if you went down and just went.
Oh my goodness gracious!
But one of you girls out there should find out. And write us a letter and tell us precisely what
We
it's
need
all about.
all the details.
I need the data.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been off air. I had COVID, so that sucked. We'll talk about it a little bit.
COVID-19.
Danny's going to brief us on the government briefing. So you're briefing us on what they briefed the people on.
Yeah, well, people don't have the patience of sitting through something like that.
On the-
Like me.
On the UFO. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like
you're like, I watched it. Wait, I didn't watch the whole thing.
It's one of the
I
most-
watched like the highlights after. No, you got to watch the whole thing. It's not that bad. It's like an hour and a half.
like the Patriots game's like 3 hours, 4 hours with
Yeah, right.
commercials.
Everybody can sit through that.
The Super Bowl's like a 6 hour.
But like the government is talking about aliens for the first time in 50 years, and everybody's head
Oh,
to
yeah.
their ass. I'm like one of the only people that watch it.
We'll talk about it.
I've talked to people about it. They're like, oh yeah, I saw something about that.
I think I saw something about
So
that.
the government was talking about aliens. You fucking idiots.
Finally, we've been waiting our whole lives just for them to even acknowledge anything.
Well, they weren't talking about aliens. They're talking about UAPs, which is basically them saying UFOs. That's what they call it now because they don't want to be like, this is a UFO hearing, but it is.
Right.
One of the senators actually mentioned
Before we get into that,
Yeah,
let me get some shout outs out.
He said UFO.
Let me just throw a couple shout outs out, all right? Because, like, first of all, check out our IG, which is That Might Not Be a Real Thing, straight up, right?
The IG.
Yep.
And then hit us up on email at tmnbart@gmail.com. And the show is brought to you in part by NRG Tree. They are everything you need to go solar. I just wanted to do, since we were talking about, before we get into, like, this is a great week to talk about what you want to talk about with the aliens, because it's obviously a focal point of the show. Shout out to Elon Musk he owns Twitter now. Is that the situation?
He owns Twitter.
Well,
yeah.
he wrote on something.
Has he been banned from Twitter before?
I don't know.
No, but
he
like,
has not.
But like now he owns it, the narrative.
I'm shocked Trump didn't try to buy it, but
I don't think Trump can afford it.
He can't afford it.
I don't think
yeah.
I don't think he can anymore.
Well, I'll tell you what. Elon Musk got on the internet, posted it to the world, to the whole world. He said that Adderall is a terrible drug,
right?
And that it's an anger like fueler.
Agreed.
And he said that all these antidepressants that the doctors have been prescribing for years, those are terrible for you. And he said the most promising data has actually been in psychedelics.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out and said, like,
Right.
he named like a bunch of stuff because I guess people were going back and forth like, I disagree with you, Elon. But you know, he
not
did,
like he's gonna like argue back.
Yeah, well, what's he gonna do? He's a busy day.
Didn't help my mind medicine stock though. So
I'm sorry to hear that, but
not that big of a deal.
well, invest in the new mushroom companies that will be coming out.
So that means it's been smart that I've been taking acid every day.
Yeah, basically, if it's the right,
I feel
dose,
great.
if it's the right dosage, then yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give him a shout out, and then do you have a song of the week? Do you want to say anything before?
Yeah, Kingsley
before I
can
bring
say
one
it.
up and get yelled at for
You
it?
can say it. Go ahead.
Because I found it's not a new band, it's new to me, but it's a Japanese kawaii death metal band.
Called
Okay.
Baby
They're
Metal.
called Baby Metal, And
so it's like it's
It's
great.
great.
And they have like heavy metal.
Ripping in
sick ripping. Yeah.
in Nihongo in Japanese.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It's freaking
It's pretty
amazing.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. We're trying to convince my brother to play at least one song at his wedding so we
What's
can
the
have
name
a
of the
mosh
band?
pit. Baby Metal.
Baby Metal.
Baby metal.
They're pretty sweet.
It's 3 chicks and then like a sick band behind them.
You know I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You would
yeah.
love it.
That's
And
a recipe for
they're
success.
they're not together anymore. They're already like broken up, but they were like 17 to like 20-ish when they were really
right.
big, like playing in Budokan and shit,
raw.
like insane shows. Yeah.
That's badass.
cool. Really?
You know how I feel about if a
You can look it up, though.
If you hear a song and you don't understand the lyrics because they're in a different language, but you still fucking love it, that's a good
Oh, it's
jam.
so awesome.
That counts, baby.
Oh, it so counts.
That counts. So,
I've been blasting that to work like ever since I found it.
all right, let's.
I got album of the week again.
You got album of the week?
What do you got?
Kendrick Lamar.
What's the album?
Isn't he a basketball
New
player?
album. Nope.
No.
Oh, he's a rapper. One of the, I think the.
Is he? I thought he was like a. pop.
He's the biggest rapper out right now. He's the biggest rapper.
Oh, I don't even know who he is.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah, and his new album came out this week. It's called, what is it called? Something in the Steppers.
So, just let me get this straight. It's the album of the week.
Yeah.
But you have no idea what the name of it is.
Well, it's a long title. It's
Look
like
it up,
Mr.
Dan.
Something in the
Look it up.
Steppers. Yeah.
Some idiot made up a long
I don't
title
know.
for their
I'll look it
episode.
up.
Like that might
Kendrick
not be a real
Lamar
thing.
new
He's got it.
I think there's like a lotto ticket.
It
you got or something.
is.
You know, the lead singer from the Black Dahlia murder, death metal band, he died. He was 41.
Rip.
Sucks.
It happens.
Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Kendrick Lamar. Every time he releases an album, it's a big deal. A lot of action around it. And there's one song on it that's like a game changer. To me, for hip hop, it's like a thing that's not talked about a lot, and it's called Auntie Diaries. And the song is about his uncle that became an aunt. And then it transitions and this is what this guy's brilliant at, because you'll listen to his songs and you won't know what perspective he's talking through.
Right.
Very smoothly transitions to his cousin who became a woman. And he talked about it in a kind of a deeper level of how he came to, like, I don't know, accept it
Yeah.
and understand it.
When I was growing up, one of my good friends up in Maine, like his uncle used to take us out fishing and do all this like stuff. He was like a professional surfer and shit, a semi-pro surfer, whatever. He was married and everything, and one day he just was like, that's it, I can't do it, I'm a woman and I'm going to have a sex change operation. And like at the time it was like the 80s or 90s, and like I remember
That was like
it was
almost unheard of
you had
back
to have-
then. Yeah.
you had to have balls. Like,
Yeah.
Forgive the expression
Yeah.
with the man
or
being
without,
wants to be a
right.
woman. You had to have fucking cojones to come out of the closet and be like, this is who I am. And
Cut off your cojones.
yeah, exactly.
To come out of the closet back then was
Just coming out of the closet is
It's
tough,
difficult
but like,
enough, but
tra-
then-
Plenty
I
of people
think-
had a gay uncle that they
think-
had a friend they bring to Christmas.
I don't think transvestites and sex change people really had their own category yet. Like it was just coming.
no.
We had the words, but they just got lumped in as homosexual. You know,
Right,
Oh yeah, this
right.
person's homosexual.
Yeah.
that's why they're dressing like a woman, obviously. You know, but there's like so many varying degrees. You and I have been
Yeah, right.
gay bar,
Gay
you
guys
know?
don't dress like
Yeah.
women.
No, there's some guys that are like butch, tough dudes you would never know are gay, and there's other guys that are, you know, like
I have a cousin that's like
they're
that.
literally like
Yeah.
gay,
Yeah.
hey, you
very
know,
flammable.
And their partner.
chicks too. You know?
Yeah.
Our cousin
is-
gave me a breakdown of his life
There's some-
this weekend. It was crazy how he's got an
Yeah.
open relationship.
Super hot
And like he's
lesbos
like, I get like 3 blowjobs a night when we go to the club, the bear club.
Yeah.
That's
He's like,
great.
yeah, he's like
I heard
being
about
gay
that
is
shit.
great.
He
Oh,
loves it.
they
He's
have
like,
a-
this is amazing.
My understanding is that they're a promiscuous bunch.
Yeah. Well, because they're all guys.
I never
Often.
understood that until
Often.
Dan was like, you got to realize these are a bunch of dudes who are just down.
Yeah.
Just down for it.
A lot of,
Yeah.
a
And I was
lot
like,
of,
oh, yeah,
You don't have
that
to
makes
convince a
sense.
chick to
You-
sleep
yeah,
with you.
you don't have to like
It's a
pick
whole
up
different
on
world.
a
We
chick. I
don't-
mean, I'm
we
sure
don't know
there's got to
about
be a vibe, but man, you could just
Yeah.
In and out. See you later.
I'd be all over the place.
It's the one. It's the one thing that has always made me be like, I do like that about being gay.
Yeah, but
One aspect.
Everybody wants to have
if
sex
you were
all the
attracted to
time.
men, it would be easy.
Just unfortunately, I'm not. Contrary to 40% popular vote. But
Maybe at some
Apparently,
point.
being straight is hard.
yeah.
it's just more work. I don't
It's
know.
just more work.
In terms of getting that cookie.
Because I mean, you look at
Getting the hushy.
yeah, you look at lesbians too, though, and they're like, for the most part,
My understanding is they're a
jumping from-
promiscuous bunch.
Yeah, right.
I
they're
heard
just jumping-
lesbians move in together real
Yeah. Oh
fast.
yeah, jump in real fast and
You ready
then
to have
just
sex? Should probably move in together tomorrow.
Yeah,
And they double click that mouse.
Oof.
Hey, it's a fun time, Don't knock it till you try it.
Well, listen, I want to get right into the meat
I
and
don't think I
potatoes.
can try it.
I want to get right into the meat and potatoes of your report, but my song of the week that we heard outside was "You Make My Dreams Come True" by Hall & Oates. Man,
There you go.
Happy song.
you saw someone that had a shirt on that
You
said
know, it was a battle vest.
Like
the
a
patch
metal-
in the back said if you're not down with Hall & Oates, go fuck yourself.
for real.
Yeah.
I feel about them like Macka. Like, you know who doesn't like Hall & Oates? Assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know who doesn't like Macka? Assholes. All right, what happened? This thing's been dangled in front of us
Yeah.
for like I think they started
It wasn't
before
that great, but it
before
just-
COVID. I think they said they were going to do a disclosure thing
in
and then
like January.
Yeah,
It
it
got
wasn't that great,
sidetracked.
but it does show that the government is back to like a Project Blue Book type thing, and they're really putting like work towards
Resources
it,
into it.
and like there's so much like censor, like there's like firsthand reports, of course, but like mostly they're trying to do it in a data driven way, like to where like because they said like how much of it is explained, what the explanation could be. They're worried about it being like Russians, Chinese, but I don't think they're saying that. I think they're saying like something that goes 80,000 miles an hour and stops on a dime and then goes into water. Like somebody brought up, they're like, do we have sensors underwater to track these things?
No.
And well, listen though. You didn't hear what they said.
They said-
See, I didn't
I'm
watch
sorry,
it.
but
I didn't watch it.
that's going to be in the classified portion of this.
Yeah, we'll answer that.
Because they
in
can't
close.
talk about it. So that's basically saying we do have sensors underwater,
Oh yeah,
and we're sensing shit.
tons of sensors underwater, sonar and other.
They said we'll have to address that in closed session.
When they said closed session for anything, it was like, ooh.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit.
Oh, and some of them they were like, well, are any of these like explained by
What
like
were the highlights?
government programs, like where like they're not like communicating, so like we might have a ship that we don't know about in the UFO thing, but like they figure it out because they talk to each other. They go, we'll have to talk about that in classified too, because
So-
some things that might be explained that way.
Did anyone ask them if they're in direct contact with any?
Yes.
Yes.
They said no.
They were
said
like,
no.
So no.
Nope.
So to the best of
That's what they're telling the people.
to the best of our knowledge, any interaction going on between extraterrestrials and human is just simply we catch a glimpse of them or they abduct
we
us and
catch-
somebody
That's
talks about
we
it.
catch a glimpse of them a lot, and they said these things have mass. They're not just like weather phenomenon or something. Sometimes they are, but these things have mass.
Well, there's so many different
400
ones.
new reports, right? Since they started really looking
Yeah,
into
and they're
it.
only using government and like FAA reports because people's reports are too. There's not any data.
They're too
with them.
sus.
Yeah.
So it's mostly government and FAA reports,
So that's-
sensors.
So that's the thing too is that
Hard
like,
data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the thing too is like first of all, have you been keeping up at all with any Star Trek, Sean?
He hasn't watched any.
I've been on pause from Star Trek because it leaves platforms.
Oh yeah.
So it has to resurface. So
That's
it was
true.
on Amazon Prime, then it was on Netflix, and I think it's off both of those right now. So.
I recently subscribed to Paramount because they have their own streaming service.
Yeah, they do. And it's amazing.
basically
All on
it's
there.
all the new Trek. But there's like I waited to subscribe because I got to binge all 3 shows. But right now there's Star Trek Discovery season 4. And I always liked that show because they had the
It's good.
T-shirts that said disco on them, which is like short for Discovery, but it's cool because it's like disco, so it's like awesome.
Yeah.
Then they
Picard.
season 2 I have to watch, and then Strange New Worlds, which this
is
is the
a new
first
one.
season.
Yeah, with Pike, right?
And and so there's a lot of Trek out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Kind of cool to be a Trek fan. Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
things that was on this week, well, as far as like the UFO disclosure goes and stuff like that, like one of the things that was on Trek this week was like there's this super advanced species that has like essentially they have like a giant area of space that is just cloaked. And like, you know, they're talking about harnessing the power of a star like in a Dyson sphere, which is like essentially like such a large.
We've talked about it on the show.
Yeah, such a large artificial object around a star that it collects all the energy inside and uses it. But even beyond that, like these people just basically had this entire area of space that Starfleet couldn't get any readings on, right? And you're talking about like Starfleet, which is like all the aliens together working together, right? So it's like you have to assume that there's a good amount of UFO or extraterrestrial activity here on the planet or close to the planet that we have just simply no way of detecting, period.
Sure.
Like there could be straight up 1,000 ship strong fleet in orbit hovering right now. It's not showing up on radar. It's not bending any light. It's fucking, there's like no way to detect it because they just simply have, maybe they're a microsecond out of phase with our time, but they can like see our time and boom, be there.
They talked about how some will be spotted over bases where they'll turn off the nuclear devices. Like,
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you
that's
don't-
always
So they all right.
You
So
don't need these.
in the briefing or
so you got a good amount of it.
yeah, I got a good amount of it. They asked directly about that.
What did they say?
They asked
What was the
one
question?
senator or state rep.
So one of them
whoever,
asked pretty good questions.
he said, "There's this. Was it Mazdan or
I forget, some English bases. No,
it's a base in? I thought it was U.S. or
could be.
whatever. It's a base, and I think we've talked about it about a light orb.
Yeah.
Came
Yes.
Foo
right
Fighter.
near a nuclear space, and it shut down 4 different silos, shut down everything.
Yeah.
And they were like, we haven't seen that.
And that was before.
No, they the fact that they didn't acknowledge that, they would have that in there.
But they were like, yeah, but we are. They said specifically
They're not
that hasn't
studying
come
that.
on our desk yet.
No, because they're studying a lot of new shit too.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what they're doing.
those,
Yeah,
those
but they were aware of it. I think
that was
he said he was aware.
that was 80s or whatever. But
Yeah, like early '80s.
those nuclear silos are all connected with some kind of a hard line, which eventually connects some primitive internet. So it's like it's still amazing though.
So that's like
it wasn't
had-
like we had everything on Wi-Fi and they just hacked in.
No, but they
through
had
Wi-Fi.
internet back then, though.
They
just
had something.
Government had internet's just a network of
network,
networks.
yeah.
And so, like, the government had that in the
That's what I'm
80s.
saying. They
Especially in
somehow
nuclear.
Yeah. They
Somehow-
communicated between bases
Right.
with some sort of internet. They had like chat systems and all sorts.
Yeah, definitely.
Stop drinking my Coke.
They didn't have a World Wide Web, but like a browser.
So
They
that-
had their own thing.
I found that pretty interesting because they were just like, well, that's not what we've been given.
Yeah.
And he was like, the guy was like, I'd like you.
Maelstrom
he's like,
Air Force
There's
Base.
yes, that's one.
Maelstrom.
Maelstrom.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
there's an authority that would give us
Yeah.
stuff to look at, and this guy's like, well, I don't consider myself like a high authority, but I want you to look into it.
Yeah. He goes, I'm asking you to look into it.
Yeah.
He goes, the guy's like, nobody's asked me to look into that yet. He goes, well, I am.
Yeah, I think this.
Some of these
this-
senators were interested in it.
Yeah,
Congressmen,
yeah.
whatever they were.
I think there was a couple of questions. One that I thought was really cool was, hey, a lot of American citizens really are interested in this. Are you actually digging deep, or are you just taking low-hanging fruit? Like, there's ones that you can look at and say, oh, that's that. I have an answer to that. Or are you looking at everything? Did you hear
Yeah.
that one? Yeah. And they were like,
You know,
well, we're building a infrastructure.
The guy who ran it, the guy who runs the new program, he's a sci-fi nerd.
Yeah, yes,
Goes to
yeah.
conventions.
dying for
awesome.
this to be
So
real.
like he's like
He's
into
like,
They asked him,
I've
yeah.
waited my whole life.
he's a Star Trek
much.
fan and everything. Like,
Oh, that's great.
He's into it big time. So he's the right guy to run it. And they didn't really
yeah.
talk about aliens too much, but is the underlying thing. Like, who the fuck is visiting us?
Yeah.
You knew it was. I don't know if they're hoping it's aliens or another country, because another country's bad, but so is aliens. Like, I don't know.
I mean, what's interesting to me about the whole fucking thing, I love it. But like one of the interesting things to me is that like as our technology develops, it new theories come out, right? So like right now we have pretty awesome drones. We think they're awesome. I mean, they're not like as good as like a Foo Fighter, but like
Yeah,
we have drones and we do surveillance and we do strikes and we do all kinds of shit with those fucking things from the other side of the planet in real time, right? Like it makes sense before, like we wouldn't just send people somewhere. We'd send drones and shit like that in first. So like
Yeah.
But no one was suggesting unmanned aircraft 70 years ago because we didn't have them, right? They're like,
Yeah.
oh, somebody has to fly the thing. It's a goddamn...
Yeah.
It's an alien in the cockpit.
It's not a robot, goddammit.
Somebody has to fly it, man.
What are you talking about, man?
So, yeah.
A pilot, a small pilot.
I think AI... I think AI was like a concept maybe back then, right?
Yeah, it was a concept.
It was
yeah.
in the cartoons that said you're gonna get flying cars by the 1985.
Did you
remember
know?
those shits?
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know that George Jetson is born in 2022?
Shut up, really?
So that's his birthday. The future is...
Soylent Green is
he's
2022.
he's going to be
too.
born this year.
So what? How old do you think he is in the show? Like in his 30s?
He's got to be in his 30s. Yeah, or maybe like 40.
I think he's like
George Jetson.
peak earning potential 40.
which
Foxes, why-
So 40 years from
yeah,
now, we're gonna have.
which means his boss is probably like a boomer.
And they had the robot that lived in the house. That was an AI.
Yeah. Holy crap!
Nobody talked. They didn't talk about it as AI. They were just robots. They're like, oh yeah, they're gonna have robots in the future.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they like didn't describe like the sophistication of the intelligence that would
No,
happen.
they just
No,
knew.
and they didn't understand that like it'll be digital devices and Wi-Fi and
Right.
things like that now, and storage of like data.
They thought you'd have to oil it.
My man,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
my man Alan Watts did most of his talking in the 60s and 70s, and he's on a recording straight up talking about that humans are right, like at the time, present time when he was talking about this, he was like, right now, humans are building a giant brain, only it's outside of our bodies, and it can't die because we just keep making it better and bigger and stronger. And he's like, of course, everything ends. He's like, but for a long time, we're going to have this big computer that we've built outside of our brain, and all of our information in our entire database, like he didn't call it a database. He just said like our
Society,
pool,
yeah.
all of our collective data as humans will all be there. And he was describing basically the Google, Google and the internet search
Right,
engines.
right.
And then he was saying that eventually we would have, chips implanted in our brain that interface directly with that thing.
That's actually
And-
reality now too.
yeah, but I'm
That's
saying it's
crazy.
like this was 50 years
50
ago.
years
This
ago,
guy was
yeah.
talking about this shit. None of the technology had been invented, but conceptually they had the idea, right? And so that's what.
Imagine being in the audience being like, this guy's fucking crazy.
Listen to
The
this.
guy who invented my device, the ICD, the cardiac defibrillator, he just died.
Yeah, recently.
Yeah, he invented it in 1982.
Wow.
That's the year you were born.
I thank him for my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
We should
That's
give
the
him
year
a
you
shout
were
out.
born.
He invented the year I was born. Yeah,
Get a tattoo of him.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
yeah.
Get like a portrait on his
He
arm.
invented the defib
Be like, who's that, your
pacemaker
grandfather?
combo.
No,
No,
the pacemaker
it's,
already existed.
He's an
in the
inventor.
60s, but he invented the implantable cardiac defibrillator, which
He
is
was
what I
like-
have.
he's like,
I have
yeah.
a CRTD, which does both, but
That's insanity.
It's a
yeah,
medical device.
cardiac resynchronization therapy device I have.
Technology.
1982.
Basically anything. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
We just don't know how to do it yet. But
Right.
anything you can possibly conceive, someday we'll figure out the
Eventually.
mastery
It
of
exists in
science.
the
Oh, yeah.
imagination.
Oh,
And
yes.
it's yeah.
We know how to edit genes.
Yeah, I'm
To a
interested.
point.
I'm interested to see
For now.
how far humans go before we just
You know it's going to be like
burn ourselves
I don't
out.
You
We'll
know
see
it's
it.
going to be like Terminator. It would be like, oh, in the genetic fucking wars of 2300 or whatever the fuck.
I don't
You know
think
what I
we'll see
mean?
it.
No, I don't think it'll be in our
One of the things
generation.
like on Star Trek Discovery this week, it was like basically it takes place 900 years in the future of the timeline of TNG. Mm-hmm. And there's this event called the burn that basically dilithium, which is what creates the energy for warp drive.
Yeah.
If you were actively in warp, your ship just exploded.
Yeah.
So like a gajillion people died, and then all ships that weren't actively at warp, their engines just became useless.
Yeah, shut down.
All right. So interstellar travel,
Discovery
which
takes
was
place then?
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought
it starts out before Kirk's time, but they run into this. Okay, I'm gonna break it down real quick. They run into this giant sphere, which is an artificial intelligence that's been alive for millions of years, and it's got what we were just talking about, like that collection of data on our species, like it's got like a gajillion
Everything.
of in there, kind of
The
like the
entire
Borg,
galaxy.
a little bit like the Borg.
Yeah.
But it didn't assimilate anyone. It just has their whole Google on its hard drive. And so this thing's been flying around the world, the universe, for a million fucking years, collecting AI data. And it just basically is deemed that it's too dangerous and it's going to wipe out biological life. And so the only way to prevent it from doing it is by sending it into the future, which to me, I was like, I just feel like that's just deferring a payment on a loan, but whatever.
Yeah.
So like season 3 and 4 take place 900 years into the future.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the Federation is collapsed. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's only
So
that
you're
one
talking-
small, and it's like hidden.
Oh, really?
The Federation at its peak has like hundreds or thousands of member
Yeah.
worlds, right?
Yep.
And now they're all cut off from each other. Right? And so,
Why? Because of this thing?
because
Yeah.
there's no more warp,
'Cause they're-
no more warp drive.
Yeah,
basically.
right. Yeah.
And so now that they've got, they figure out the problem, and they're revisiting these worlds, but so much time has passed that they don't. It's like first contact all over again, basically, right? So
Right.
it's like I know that like 900 years ago, our people knew each other, but that was a long fucking time ago, and we haven't had warp drive in like 500 years. So
People know what it is then?
so they do, but it's just that it's an interesting point in time because they're like trying to convince these people to come back into the fold, right? And so where I'm going with this is like, it's probably one of the best, visualizations I've ever seen of like, who we are and what we are and, the connectedness of everything. But basically they're on Saru's planet, Kaminar.
Yeah.
And they're saying that we need to worry about our home. We need to take care of our home first.
Right.
And Saru says, well, that depends on how you define home. And it's interesting how people do define home.
Right.
Right? Because like here it kind of ends at country, right? Because it's like, I'm an American.
Yeah.
I'm from Lebanon. I'm Greek. I'm Irish. Like
I'm from Massachusetts.
yeah, right. Some people are like, like they're from this town, in this state, in this country, and they just that's it. They don't go any further than that. They don't say on planet Earth, right? Because they don't think past this.
We're all Earthlings.
Yeah, but Saru has this map of Kaminar up on the board, right, on the fucking projector, and he zooms out to show the solar system.
Right.
And then he zooms out to show the galaxy. And he's like, we're really not, this is our home. And it just feels like it isn't because we don't have the ability to go boop, point A to point B like we used to. But now that we do again, he's like, we need to come back together and rejoin and all this other stuff. But to see like the planet and then be zoomed all the way out to the galaxy just gave such a huge perspective on like that we're all basically that we're in the same thing, man. We're all in the same thing.
Yeah, right.
It's just how far do you zoom in where you identify this as your home,
Right.
And you can take whatever you want. People could say like, no, I live in Drake. That's my home.
Yeah. Right. That's all they really.
But really, we live in this specific universe. You can take it as big as you want. So it's fucking crazy.
Can I share something?
Please.
So last weekend, not this weekend, Saturday night? I didn't have any kids or wife. They were all gone. You were at a bachelorette party for the weekend, and the kids were up in Maine. So I did 5 minutes stand up for the first time in my life.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah, and I didn't want to forget about it, but
let's not. Let's focus on it right now.
I did great. I loved it. I had a good time. I
think
made
it was
people
fun.
laugh.
It was
and
funny.
I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do open mics, and I'm gonna go around, do it, and work on my act and add more minutes. And
I think you're a good public speaker.
I did pretty good. Yeah, I did pretty good. My best bit was my line 900 volts right in the pussy.
Right in the pussy.
It's about my defibrillator, and if it goes off, that's exactly what happens.
That's exactly what I'll get.
And I was talking about like my electric dick and
Gives a whole new meaning to the term shocker.
shocker. Well, somebody told me that actually. I was like, oh, okay,
That's a good one,
That's gonna
yeah.
get added to it.
The more
that's
you
what happens.
do it,
You just add stuff to it, and
the more you do it,
track.
the better you'll get at it.
Yeah,
and
talking about jerking off, and I was like 11, and like catalog.
It didn't go off.
Steel.
It didn't go off very well.
I was
No,
happy.
some of
It was
did.
okay.
Some of
It
it
was
did.
hard for me to hear because I got a recording of it and the recording wasn't picking up the laughter.
Yeah.
like I could only hear the person who was recording it laughing. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
But no, there's some things that went good, some things that went a little drawn on, but it was 5 minutes to start, and it's gonna be better next time. And then
No, I think he
then I'm gonna
killed
keep
it
going
for his first.
Yeah,
time.
I definitely made people laugh and stuff, you know. So
Where did you do it?
at a comedy club called McHugh's Comedy Club in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Was it busy?
It's at the Roundabout Diner. Yeah, it was okay.
People go there?
Yeah, like everybody, if you guys want to see good comedy, like they have the guy who closed the night won Boston Comedy Festival, and Steve Sweeney was there a few weeks ago. He was like, he opened for like Bill Burr. He's like a Boston legend.
Yeah,
And
he's funny.
so
He's
yeah,
really
so
funny.
like you know, it was a legit comedy club. My best friend was running it, so he, you know, got me in there, gave me some of his minutes. So it's not like an open mic. Like I don't know if I'm even gonna get to do it there again for a while. But for now, I'm gonna go to different places, and then if they invite me back, they invite me back.
Too bad we didn't plug the show.
Well, you really couldn't plug the show. There was really no chance to plug the show.
All he
It
had
was my
to do
first
was-
time on stage. I can't plug the show.
All Liam had to do was say, and here he is.
Oh, I told him about it. He
Dan,
didn't do it.
co-host of the podcast. That might not be a real
Could have
thing.
done that.
Danny.
I asked him about it, but he didn't do it.
I mean,
so
yeah.
When I watched Liam introduce you on the recording you sent me, I felt like if I could Wonka vision my hand through the fucking phone and slap him in the face, I'd be like,
no.
I'd be like,
no, I
Liam,
did good. It's just, he just
He did fine.
I can't push things.
plug
you know,
the show, baby.
I get it, but like I'm the first time seeing the comic. It's not like
I hear-
they're getting a treat. Like
Yeah.
maybe in like a couple of years they'll be getting a treat, and they can plug me.
But just let
in
me
the,
ask-
in the ways I get plugged.
Just let me ask you this: what's a better intro? Plain old, here's Danny D.
Yeah, but I'm not the
or
host, he's the host.
Here's the host of That Might Not Be a Real Thing, Danny D.
Well,
Now-
it's also my first time doing stand up.
no, I
Yeah.
know. I'm
Like,
just saying.
He can work it in eventually.
Yeah,
Sounds
it's not,
good.
for first time. It's really not something I cared to work in. I told him about it, but
How'd you like doing it though?
I loved it.
Seems like-
it's like playing an instrument. It's like being born again. The lights are really bright. You can't see anybody, and like it's like when you make people laugh. It's like playing an instrument, kind of. It's like you're like pushing
getting-
it back at them, and they push it back at you. It's really weird.
Now,
Really?
Liam's
Really
been
weird
doing
sensation.
comedy for a while.
Yeah, you did it in LA and
He's
stuff.
talked to you probably plenty of times about doing this
Gajillion
before.
Yeah, you wanted me to do it
Yeah.
for a long time.
Do you feel like, because is this a coincidence that this happened in the right in the wake of the Rohit Sharma podcast? Because
no, that's a coincidence. Yeah,
You
And
were
actually-
talking about it for a while.
Yeah, but actually, I wish I had him on the show to talk about it because it happened like right after that, and it would have been cool to like.
do you think
like,
that was somehow
No,
just the
no, it
last
just- no, it
little
just-
nudge you needed?
No, it was just Liam just asked me finally. He's like, "You got your material?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got material. Let's do it." So that was it. Yeah.
He kind of just asked him. He's like, "Hey, I got no kids, no wife this weekend. What? I'm gonna come to the comedy and
Yeah, he's like,
just,
"You wanna
just
do
hang
5
out."
minutes?
And he's like, "You want to do some minutes?"
Comedy's like so important because it's like the opposite of negativity when
Yeah.
it's done right, right? Because like obviously
Yeah,
people get all
obviously.
huffy and puffy
Yeah,
about
yeah,
something.
yeah.
It's not funny, whatever. But like I'm talking like genuinely funny people are hard to come by. And then I get that like, oh, I don't know how we're gonna do.
I got invited places too afterwards by other comics. I got invited
Really?
to other comedy clubs. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And like told about like 4 open mics. Like there's open mic every night of the week out
I get
there.
that. I
It's
get
a good
that.
comedy
Like,
scene. in
I get
Boston.
that. Like probably once you're up there, there's probably like an adrenaline rush that kicks you into some kind of like gear. But
For me, I'm sure a lot of people. I was pretty calm. I don't know why. I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
get
you're-
nervous. I didn't get
you're
nothing.
good.
I was
you're,
calm.
You're a good public speaker. But what I'm saying
Yeah.
about the difficulty of comedy is that like to get up every day and project this like happy energy, like
Yeah.
you know, like
Depends on who it is up
comedic
there.
thing is tough because like something your life could be going to shit, you know, and then like
Yeah. A lot of comics' lives are going to shit.
we're trying to either break my lighter or open Sean's beer.
I opened the first
both.
one first.
Very
time.
Why don't you
easy.
just whack
Very
it off the
easy.
table really hard?
Because I don't
and
want to break the
It'll break the
table.
table.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna be a Liam said, he goes, the thing is you're no longer a first time comedian. Now you're
That's
a
it.
comic, and
Popped
you're
your
gonna
cherry.
I'm gonna keep. Yep, that's what he said. Pop my cherry, and I got stuck in the mic cord at first. Like it seemed like way longer than it was, but I like had it stuck on the stand, and
Being
I'm
up on
trying to
stage
get it
is
off.
tough stuff.
Yeah, and so. Yeah, I just had fun though. I had some good jokes, and I know what to do next time, and then maybe after this one, I'll know what to do next time after that, and just keep doing it.
I think I want in on this action. I think I want to do a stand up.
Come with me on open mic. We'll do
Yeah,
it.
that'll be great.
Yeah. We'll do it.
I'll do it.
All right, let's go.
We have to film it though.
Yeah, we'll do it.
For the.
I usually have like Friday nights free, so
I already know.
if you want to go, we'll do it.
I already know that like
There's a place in Manchester that's really good. I guess we should go there.
my material will be centered around my whole marriage agreement thing.
Yeah, you can do
Re-up.
that. That's
People
pretty
will
good.
love that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta work on
Talk
it. though.
about well,
You got to work on something. Yeah.
You can't
talk
just go up there and talk. I mean, you might be able to.
Well, it's tough. There's like interesting, and then there's like not everybody. You have to like live in the silence sometimes too. Like it's not every second you get a laugh. Like it's
not a rip-roaring laugh,
and you don't have to
Yeah,
be
right.
interesting to you don't have to get laughs to be interesting necessarily.
it's different cadences to comedy for sure. Like,
Yeah,
there's
women
the
have
old-
different cadences.
The long setup with the big punchline. You know?
Yeah.
It's like
Like my punchline at the end was a little weak because it wasn't really like people kind of went ooh, like they didn't get it and then they got it. So like I think I need to set it up a little bit better.
It was like a slow.
Yeah, they got it.
Oh, I got that one.
Because I was like, some women like to be choked, others like to call you daddy, and my wife's into cardiac arrest.
I felt like it was pretty clear, like that was the joke.
Yeah, but I think I can make it a little bit better. That's all.
Yeah, you can rework.
I
it.
have a lot of other jokes too. I have a bunch of shit I've written up. So every time I have a lot of voice memos too. Like if I think of something funny, or say something funny, I'll just take a voice note of it now. And now I look back and I'm like, oh shit, I said that. Cool.
It's
I
funny
think
when-
the room at a open mic is a lot different than a room at a comedy show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
this is a comedy show.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, I'm going to
They're-
laugh.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Open mic, I'm like, I'm going to watch people suck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
right.
Like,
So-
tell shitty poetry.
Yeah.
I was lucky to have my first time at a booked comedy club, but that's not going to happen for
Yeah,
a little while.
yeah,
so,
no.
I mean, I might do it again there, but like, I don't know. It'll take a little bit before I'm invited somewhere, like to do 5-10 minutes. So,
you are.
but I think it'll happen though. In fact, I know it'll happen eventually.
You had a wild 2 weeks while we were off air because you guys got your Nana's old new Mustang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my dad.
What's the mile? It's nine.
My dad
It's an
kinda claimed
04.
it, though.
It's 9,000 miles on it.
9,500.
It's
Yeah.
fucking awful. That's so bad for that car.
Yeah, but it's got like
Yeah.
no.
it
it's not
should have
broken in.
so much. It's not broken in at all.
Somebody's
It's just-
gonna have to do it, Kingsley.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's not. It's
like
not having a good time.
Why the car is fucked up?
No, it's not fucked
all
up.
right.
It's just it's never been driven like over fucking 40 miles an hour, and you can tell.
She drives like so slow. She should have never had a V8 Mustang.
yeah,
It's insane.
for sure.
Well,
And it's not
It's a
it's a-
beautiful, sweet new Mustang
It is.
convertible.
It's
Great.
great. It's not ours.
No, it's like the families. Like
yeah.
my
still,
dad's,
it's
but-
still cool to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've driven it. I took it out the other day when everybody's gone.
Your dad must fucking love it. He
So
loves.
what do you got to do
Yeah,
to
he's
get
always
it?
wanted something like that.
Just got to drive it?
You just gotta drive it,
Yeah,
really. Yeah.
Gotta break it in. We got a guy that came to check out like what they're gonna do with it and stuff. He's gonna take the decals off because it's like these shitty rose decals that are really girly.
Yeah.
I said put some guns
awful.
on it, and then it's Guns and Roses. But
Your dad. Yeah, your dad didn't like
never
that
do
idea.
that,
No.
No. Yeah.
how long before I'm driving it? Just me, like, and that's it. Nobody else.
Your dad will not give up his.
Problem is he's not gonna put shit into the car.
No, I
and I
know.
would put all sorts of stuff
See,
into
the
it.
thing is it's his
Get
like
in and out of low
it's
cars.
his like midlife crisis car.
He wanted one forever. It's fine. Let him have it. It's not that great.
I remember him wanting a Porsche when you were a kid.
Yeah, he wanted a Porsche or a Miata.
Recently,
like, so queer.
before the Mustang, it was a one of those new Thunderbirds, which I think are fucking ugly.
Oh,
as
they're gross.
sin.
Yeah.
What
Disgusting.
like the 1990 ones?
Yeah,
like
it's
the
like a
kinda
two-seater?
like- they look
2000
kinda like the
two-seater with like the
60s.
round like fucking windows on the back. It's disgusting. And I was like, you're gonna look ridiculous in that car, George.
Yeah.
You're gonna look ridiculous.
I know
in
people.
that
I
car.
know people that have that car. I think it's all right. I think if you, it's a nice. It's a
that,
nice look.
that look like him.
Seems like a lot of old people bought it.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of like young cats being like, "Yeah,
we definitely
two-seater
talked
Thunderbird."
him. We
let's go."
definitely talked him out of buying that because we were like, don't do it.
It's
They're
too
pieces
bad.
of shit."
Don't do
It's
it.
too bad. They could have done better. They did a good. I think they did a pretty good job with the Challenger and the.
So you know how I've been going to the gym for 5 months?
Yeah.
Like I found out at the playground with the kids, like the monkey bars and stuff, that I'm a fucking ninja right now. I'm so small but
Ninja-
strong.
Ninja
like I
warrior.
can hold myself
Yeah.
up on like 2 fingers and then like pull myself up and like hang upside down and like do like 20 pull-ups and then like do the monkey bars across. It's amazing because 2 years ago I couldn't even do one. I couldn't even hold myself up in the monkey bars. Like
I'm
at all.
glad. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm doing terrible.
Yeah, I know you lost some strength, but you'll get it back though. It's
I
memory.
no. My whole life is terrible right now.
Oh, the whole thing.
Like
That's it, huh?
Down the tubes.
Sadhguru talks about, just the simple concept that like when you're unhappy in life, it's basically because like life isn't playing out the way you think it should or the way you want it to.
Right.
And when you're happy, it is going the way you want it to. And it's like, it's so true. Like things are not going the way I fucking want them right now. And it's making me unhappy.
Yeah.
And then like, I already have a depression problem that I have to keep in check. And so like, the 8 M's to combating depression, those aren't like a fucking joke, dude. Those are critical core parts of my life that if I don't do them, everything else starts to spiral out of control. So like I get COVID, right?
Yeah.
I get sick for week sick. Like I can't get out of bed. I can't move. I'm not eating, whatever, for 5 straight days. Okay. I lose a ton of strength. I'm exhausted. Like I have fatigue. All this equates to I can't work and I'm paying other people to do my job, and then I'm losing crops. Like, hey, listen,
Did you get that fatigue where your muscles like went to like failure for nothing?
I just like
I got weird
like, exhausted all the time. Like I just want to sleep, more than normal, which is like, too much as it is. So like my whole life's out of balance. I haven't been meditating. I couldn't masturbate. Mushrooms and marijuana were off the menu for a little bit because I was like, I was taking like an edible, weed edible, and it was like making me,
Sleepy.
I was stoned, but I was like still feeling miserable. And then like I tried a little bit of shrooms one day on like the 4th day, and obviously I had a massive spike in like adrenaline and serotonin and stuff, and so like I actually felt better for a few hours.
Yeah.
So turns out microdosing the mushrooms helps you physically feel better and mentally feel better. But yeah, everything's just going to shit in my life, and I'm like, man, it's all out of control. And it's been really bothering me for like the last 2 weeks. And it's like, at the end of the day, I only have just the 2 choices that are always there. I could just like lay down and die and cry and just quit, right? Or I can pick myself up and try to rebuild. And like, I'm choosing to rebuild, but it's like it's hard. It feels like you get knocked on your ass and you lose stuff, and it's like it's harder to like get back up. And like I'm trying to just remember like I'm only putting this on the air because if anyone else is having a miserable time right now and you need a way to get through it, for me, sometimes I think like, okay, well, there's this guy I know, Jim Mims. He owns a bunch of restaurants. My family and his family are friends, and the guy's always in a good mood. Fucking
always happy.
I will say he has no children. Because he's lived kind of like a less stressful life because of that, and he has lots of money. But money brings plenty of stress, so I don't want that to think that like,
more money, more problems.
Yeah, exactly, man, for sure. That's not like a joke. That's a real thing. Yep. So he used to say, and I guess he still does. I'm just quoting him. Is this thing that I'm bothered, like that's really bothering me right now? Is this going to be bothering me in 6 months? And if it's not, then like maybe I should just stop getting so upset about it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you can tell yourself like don't get upset, but if you're upset, right?
Yeah.
It takes time and you like control it. And so I'm just trying to like get back on the 8 M's right now and like
get back on track.
Meditation.
It must be harder for people
motion
because you get into a routine, and I think for people who are
I'm a super routine person.
Mental, having our experience mental illness and are combating that, and also people who are recovery, that routine is so important.
Routine is my golden ticket. I love routine.
Exactly. So
when I don't go to the gym a certain day, like if I take a couple days off, like I did because I felt like shit after the bachelor party, I didn't like it. I haven't
worked out in like 2.5 weeks, and I'm feeling awful right now and disgustingly awful. Like I don't feel good at all. And it's not technically one of the 8 M's, but Matthew McConaughey is a double M. He's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
He's a positive guy.
He works out.
I heard him talk one time about just being in balance, and that you got if your life's out of balance, you're fucked. And like right now, my life got whacked out of balance from the virus, and just because I wasn't, other things too, but like maintaining balance is key, and you got to monitor it, and that monitoring is one of the 8 M's of combating depression. But like he just basically will say, like, if something in his life is starting to fall off, like an important component of his life isn't getting the attention it needs, he will refocus on that and stop focusing on some other things. You know what I mean? So like for me right now, like I just got to focus on getting back to my core shit.
When are you getting back to the gym?
Tomorrow.
Good.
And then
you'll feel better. You'll be a little weaker, but you'll feel better.
Yeah, and it's going to suck for a week. And then, I'll start like slowly rebuilding my routine.
Yeah, and the muscle, you'll feel like your muscles will be fuller a little bit. You'll feel better.
Yeah, that's the physical
You
part.
didn't lose a lot, probably.
I have to meditate. Like, I haven't meditated basically in like a month, maybe. It's probably been a month, right? So if like you're a church going person, that'd be like not going to church for, I don't know if it's the same thing because I try to meditate every day. But like this whole week's going to be about getting back to my core.
But how do you combat, like, you had COVID, which is going to knock you on your ass.
Yeah, I did.
Which it did.
Yeah.
Some people it doesn't, allegedly, but...
I was okay, but I had so much science
on
me.
Yeah. And you're going to be on your ass for a couple days, and then after, there's some days after that you're just like, ugh. Yeah. But how do you, in the future, you're going to get sick again. So how do you adapt to the possibility of that? Or do you just say, hey, I'm going to be miserable for 2 weeks?
Like come up with another M, like an emergency M.
Menstruation.
Yeah.
It's basically...
It happens once.
This is what I think. It was more or less out of my control. And the more you try to fight that out of controlness, the more it makes you angry and pissed off and stuff. And so I think for me, like because I've had a couple like panic attacks and anxiety attacks in the last few weeks. Like I haven't had a panic attack in a decade.
Right.
And I've been like a couple of nights this week, I've been just like trying to calm myself down. My heart rate's through the roof. I'm straight up in a panic. Right. And I'm like, what am I panicked about right now?
I had one a little bit.
And I'll list it out and I'll be like, okay, that's a real thing. You need to get some money. You need to do this. You need to do that. Like these are things that normal people panic about, but like I've lost control of my emotional state. Right. And, basically to calm myself down and bring myself down a little bit, I just try to tell myself like, you got to accept right now that this is not in your control.
Yeah.
And you're going to once you do that, you feel better right away. Like I just visualize myself being swept away by like an ocean current and just going limp and just go limp, baby, go loose. Just let it take you. Don't fight it. You're going to drown and cramp up and die if you fight it. Just fucking float and breathe. And like Mr. Miyagi, he says, when life out of balance, Daniel-san, come back to basic. And he says, what's basic thing in all life?
Breathe,
right? So he just breathed. So like all week, I've just been concentrating on breathing and trying to do the best that I can to like get my routine back, accepting that like this shit's all out of my control and I'm just going to have to deal with it. And it's all part of my destiny, basically. And then ultimately, and I don't know how this works for everybody else, but for me, I fucking find it hilarious that I'm going to get old and die someday. And so like, I just sit there and I think to myself, right now, you moron, you're all upset about this thing that, on your deathbed, you're probably going to be like, that was funny. I cared about that. Right. So like,
yeah, I wish I didn't waste time like in my mid to late 20s not doing the things that I do now. Like I could have just been so much better.
Yeah, but Stupid. I think that's just part of life is figuring
hindsight's
it out.
20/20.
I know, but like I just like didn't like comfort was better to me than like not.
Yeah.
And like now it's not. It's like I want to do things.
I like comfort.
I like comfort too, fine, but I want to get the things out of my way that I need to get done first.
I think a lot of people focus on just being this emotion of being happy, and not realizing that you have to be upset, you have to be mad, you have to be
that part of the ride.
Yeah,
that's just part of it. They're like, oh, I'm not happy right now, and it's like, well, lean into that unhappiness, lean into and then just be okay with it.
Yeah,
you can't have happy without sad.
No, you can't.
Right.
Can't.
Exactly.
And I know that's not what's going on with you, but I think Pete, that is an issue with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and you guys are in your routine. And
what's going on with me is my whole life just span out of control in a 2-week period, and I'm psychologically overwhelmed by it, and I'm just doing the best I can to recover.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm mentally tough. I think I am. I don't know. I think a lot of people would have probably blown their brains out if they were me.
I don't know.
A long time ago, but who knows? I have a pretty good ride. Do you think let's bring it back to the ETs. You think that they've figured all this out, mental brain chemistry, and it's like a thing in the past?
I think they're so advanced that they don't give a fuck about themselves. They don't care about their own feelings.
hive mind.
Yeah, they don't care about their feelings. They just advance and.
All extraterrestrials?
No, not all. I think we're probably reality TV somewhere. Like they're
gotta
like,
be.
it's
Why
gotta
wouldn't it
like,
be?
Like they must. There's some planet out there that knows about like the Kardashians or some bullshit.
Like, look at-
they're like, oh, did you see Time magazine?
The show's called The Apes.
and like there's like dealers.
It's just called The Apes.
There's like
The
dealers on-
humanoids.
yeah, there's dealers on other planets that are like, I got a new copy of the New York Post. Do you want to buy it? Like they got shit like that. Like
you won't
these humans are
believe it.
interested.
You won't believe what these
they're up
chimpanzees
to.
are up to right
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's it would be a great show. We are a great show to watch. It's
Or
the
we're a
old
zoo and we're part of their.
menagerie.
There could be other humanoids out
Menagerie,
there
yeah.
just like us too. That like comedy. Like it's something to hear that it's important. But does that exist in other places? It might.
That gets covered on Star Trek
Could.
all the time because
Yeah.
some species just don't get the comedy.
get
Yeah,
Like,
no, they have
others
no
do.
sense
They
of
weren't
humor.
they weren't
Yeah.
wired for it. It wasn't
Right.
part of their society.
So they think everything's serious. Yeah.
I mean, there's literally a South Park episode completely dedicated to what you guys are talking about.
Oh really?
yeah, no, it disturbed
has
me.
the
when you-
most
it disturbed me when you made me watch the sex scene.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen that.
It's
one.
completely about Earth is a reality TV show, and
can't
it's
unsee
huge. It's amazing in the universe, and these two like executive producers come to Earth or whatever. They're going to destroy it. They're canceling Earth, and they're going to blow up the Earth.
Oh, my,
Sorry.
I'm gonna
And the
have
South
to
Park
watch.
boys. and the
I'm
South
gonna
Park-
have to watch
You have
clips
to.
of it.
Yeah, you have to. There's one clip that is probably one of the most famous clips in South Park history.
Is that how we came up with Hushy?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, it's probably
The sex scene, Kingsley, cannot be unseen. So
Oh, I can't
when
wait.
you watch it, it's
Yeah.
gonna sear itself into.
I like
Yeah.
I like the sex scene in Team America.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
I laughed so hard. At
It's up there with that.
that's great.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
up
where he
that.
shits on her
Yeah.
and pisses.
It's basically like these two execs like go out drinking and they bring the kids with them and they get a hooker and they do space drugs and then
Oh, I can't wait.
Then
Stuff
they-
we don't know about.
I
then they
can't
start
wait.
fucking each other.
That's I can't wait.
So good.
And what do they say? What's the line?
Oh, suck my suck my
Jargon.
jargon.
Stick your whatever in my
Oh
whatever.
yeah, suck
like,
my thrasher.
Oh, that's great.
It's brutal.
I can't wait to watch
It's
it now.
absolutely brutal. And
Oh,
I will
shit.
occasionally text Macka like, like 1 a.m. I'll be like, I can't get that horrible. It just pops into my brain.
And they could show it on TV because like there's nothing they're saying that's like human sexual.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's,
Is there too much? All right, at this point, there's so much TV, sci-fi books, like satire about a galactic empire that we're not a part of yet. Is there too much out there that it can't be true?
What? That one exists?
There's
there's like a federation out there
there's a
somewhere.
federation.
Oh,
out
there has to be.
where we're not a part of yet.
It's
I could see
probably in
that.
our galaxy somewhere.
It makes sense that there would be. I mean,
Because they could just be taking on Prime Directive.
well, I mean, just look at what drives us as a species, right? It's essential. Like if you're talking about
No,
most of
it's
the
just knowledge.
most of the two main reasons we ever go anywhere or do anything is because we're trying to get some kind of a resource, right?
or learn.
Or curiosity.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
occasion, there'll be like curiosity that will drive something, but even behind that is always some asshole funding it for financial
Yeah,
purposes.
right.
So, but we're almost done, baby. Hang in there. So we like to trade on this planet, right? Like the minute we had the ability to move from like one city to another, or one country to another, anything, right? Like that's what we started doing, trading. We're like, hey, you
Yeah,
got
eventually, if you can do it from one planet to another, you're going to do that too.
exactly. I think that
If you can, if
I
you're
think
advanced.
that would be the most logical reason.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
There would be people on a planet, and they'd be like, "Yeah, we want that resource. The planet's fucking." They'd hit it with a
so let's become a federation.
a
We get your reasons
spectroscope,
from you get ours from us, and
and yeah, I mean, it's got to be out there. It makes sense that it exists. Some people say Gene Roddenberry got the idea from basically an extraterrestrial interaction of some kind, where they like
right.
they literally like beamed it into his brain.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm reading this really cool book. They actually made a show of it on Apple TV. It's called Foundation.
What's it about?
And it's essentially about a huge galactic empire that's 300 years from now.
This is on Apple TV.
Yeah.
This is a sci-fi show.
Yeah.
You're watching this?
I'm not watching the show. I'm reading the book because...
Borderline more nerdy. Go ahead.
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
the
what is
book-
going on here?
Yeah, the book is like way better. I don't
It always
know.
is.
Yeah.
They always are.
They say that.
hard disagree.
On how? Which,
in this-
on which book and TV series do you
You know,
not
it's
agree?
funny. It's funny you say this because I was actually thinking about it today. I was like, man, books suck. I was like, I get it. I get it. Like, there's some freedom in there for you to imagine your own thing based on what the person's writing. I'm like, but movies are just so simply so much better.
Movies and shows.
And I just want to add that you have to be literate to read a book, but you could really enjoy a
Are
movie.
you saying you're illiterate?
Borderline, but I'm saying that like
Because
through the course of time, there were mass amounts of people that were illiterate. So books were either not for fun at that point.
but not now.
Yeah, they probably started writing them for fiction and stuff when the masses could read. But what I'm saying is when you read a book, it's you're just looking at reading these pages and using your imagination, and that part's cool. But like, it's just way better to see like, what's the stormtrooper sound when they die? When they fall down.
Yeah.
Lasers flying everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
I've read some good Star Wars
a
books.
lot more stimuli. Okay, you're being hit with
I guess.
sounds, sights, whatever. You don't really have to use your imagination. They've already done it for you. They're putting it right in front of your face.
I mean, I guess my only complaint with books is sometimes they go into so much detail. So, like, for instance, Dune, the movie Dune.
Oh, yeah, long.
The book is huge, and they go into so much detail.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, I
But
just
they
watched the
have
movie,
to.
and they do, and I'm like, oh,
They have to.
I get like I'm watching a scene. The movie in the scene, the movie's 5 minutes, but the book is 30 pages.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And
And so-
I heard that Dune was hard to follow because of that,
Yeah,
especially for people that read the book. They're like, well, what about this? Like, you
Yes.
don't know that this and this and this is happening.
I
Yeah,
think if
exactly.
you read the book, you liked the movie better.
Yeah.
I think
What?
That's not what I.
That's not what I got.
because one of the complaints with the original movie, why like people didn't like it, was just like so much shit just bouncing around. Like it didn't feel like connected, like a storyline, you know. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of material on the characters that they left out because they
Yeah.
had to keep it in this thing. That's why, like on Game of Thrones,
The books were way
it's
better.
Yeah.
maybe I never read them,
I
but the
did.
show was so good because
show
they
is
had
good, but
so much time
They
to tell
closed
you
it out.
all the
so
stuff.
we don't even. That's just their version
Right, they
of
did, yeah.
that story because the books follow a different story. Like we're not even towards the end. At the end of the 5th book, Jon Snow just gets stabbed.
Yeah, he never finished it, so like somebody's got to finish
they're
it.
just only there. So we don't know how it's really supposed to end, and it could end completely different from.
Oh, I don't like that.
And I do because I hated the fucking ending
Ending did
to
suck.
to Game of Thrones. I'm sorry. It was
Dan.
awful because the books were better. Harry Potter books
Yeah.
were better. Fucking even Hunger Games, the books were so much better. Holy shit, so much more gory. Insanely gory. That they couldn't make for kids. They couldn't. The movies were for kids.
Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. These book people seem to really like the books.
If you like reading books, then you'll see the difference.
Yeah.
No, I like reading books.
Yeah.
You can't. Stephen King movies suck. They're better in books.
I've always thought that a bookstore is a sweet place to hook up with, meet somebody of the whatever
That
sex you're
explains so much.
whatever sex you're interested in, same sex, hetero, homo, hushy, whatever. Like if you go to the bookstore and you see someone that's attractive and they're anywhere near like a category that you like, you probably have a connection right there. And
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
I never picked up anybody at a bookstore, but
Well,
Well, let me just talk
late
about
now.
Foundation for a little bit longer.
go ahead,
Foundation
go ahead. I'm
is it's basically about this huge galactic empire that's 300 years from now or 1950, and it's there's a guy whose name is Harry Seldon in the book, but he's the actor who played the old guy in Chernobyl. If you've seen that,
Yeah.
Dan has.
Oh, fucking excellent show if you haven't. Amazing. It's like a horror story, but
Really good show.
Yeah.
but basically Foundations is this guy's like a mathematician in this era, but it's like he can predict what people are going to do with his formulas and blah. He's got 100,000 people working for him. And he's what the Empire is like, yo, you can't say this shit because it will scare people. And there's like 30 billion people in the empire.
Yeah.
It goes across the whole universe. And basically, he predicts that in 1,000 years, the empire is going to fall apart. And everybody's like, fuck you, motherfucker.
Don't say that. Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, well, I can prove it. He's like, the only way we can stop it is if we create like an encyclopedia of everything that happened. And that way it won't be 30,000 years of darkness like in Discovery. It will be 1,000. So they let him do it, but they put him on the outskirts of the universe. And so now all these planets are around them that are all like planets that are probably dissected parts of Earth.
Okay.
There's like people who are super religious. There's people blah, blah, blah. Very cool story. I'd read the book.
Yeah.
Kingsley, I'd read the book.
I'm going to check out Apple TV.
The TV, yeah, the show is a little weird. I haven't watched it because I like where the book's going more. But basically the book's like 5 short stories that are connected, but it's all about this thing. And it's really cool.
That sounds
First
good.
science fiction recommendation you've ever made to me.
We could be a planet that's on the outskirts of the galaxy.
How does Earth,
of the center of the galaxy?
How do they fit in? Are they players? Are they shitty little tiny country nobody cares about, but they get rights? Like,
well, basically they create this planet that is allegedly like the center of the universe that has like 50 billion people.
all the species live there.
Yeah, well, I don't. They talk mostly in human form. Is most of the species.
So are the
Mostly human.
Everybody's humanoids. Yeah,
extraterrestrials are all humanoid.
yeah. In this story so far that I've read, I don't know if it gets deeper. I think there's maybe some animals that are different, but the point is like they are cut off from, like, we're cut off from the center of the universe because it's so far out. And when the empire falls, these planets gain strength in the regions of where they're at.
They're like the outer
I
rim
see.
in Star
Yeah,
Wars.
Yeah.
But the empire will send out ships every once in a while to come fucking look at them. You know what I mean?
See what's going on.
So that maybe that's what's going on here.
Surveillance.
We're getting scouted.
We're getting scouted to make sure we're not getting too fucking off.
Off kilter.
Yeah, like too religious and blah, blah, blah.
I think when we lit the first nuke off is when extraterrestrials were like probably like super interested.
They're like,
in
hey,
was
what
going
the
on
fuck
here.
is
'Cause
going
you can
on
see
over
that
there?
you can see that radio signature far out.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
travels at the speed of light, so you
Yeah.
know, it's like. But if you're already here watching us or something like that, maybe
Yeah.
even just the first radio transmission to leave the planet, like
Yeah.
it was like it lit us up. You know.
Yeah. But anyways, that's just
Check out the show.
definitely the book.
Check out the book. If you can't read or you like movies better like me, check out the show on Apple TV. I'm just saying, you know, some people can't. Like, I'm capable of reading. Like, I'm literate, but like
Yeah.
I'm incapable of reading a book.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and I'll be like, I gotta fall asleep. I can't.
Yeah.
This isn't video games. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
sorry. Go ahead.
no, that's all. I was like, just gonna close out the show. Dan's passed out. It's way past his bedtime.
I was just gonna say I graduate and get my associates on Wednesday.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, that's great.
First leg of the journey.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you already have a job in your field.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to pay for you to finish your education, or
Well, for right now, I have scholarships to go full
good
ride.
for you, man.
That,
So-
you gotta take advantage of that.
I'll transfer to Northeastern in the fall.
Hell yeah. Wow.
That's
It's like a
awesome.
top 50 school now. It's a really good
Cheers.
school.
Thank you.
Slanche.
Slancha, thank you.
Hey man, we'll get some more info on the UFO stuff going on.
Yes.
I haven't had.
I
an
wish they gave us
opportunity.
more, but it was still interesting.
Next week, if Johnny Depp and this lady are still in court,
I think it's gonna happen.
It's gonna no, because the judge said she wanted to, and she promised the jury that they would be done by Memorial Day. Like,
This is jury.
fuck
That
this
means Aaron could get in
nonsense.
trouble.
No, I
just hang in there, Johnny.
Is Johnny on trial or is she?
Well, both of them, really.
I'm not really sure.
It's a weird thing. I've never
No,
seen
I
such
think
a.
Johnny's on trial because she's on the other side.
Why?
This is his lawsuit against her.
It's a defamation
it's a
case.
civil
yeah,
case.
yeah,
but
defamation.
then there's a counter case happening.
yeah,
to her.
right.
Simultaneous?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not
do you even-
active.
I don't know it's
Handle that.
active. I don't even know.
That might get thrown out if
Dude.
she loses.
Yeah.
Just
for
hang
sure.
in there, Johnny. It'll all be over in
we got your
6
back.
months. It won't be bothering you.
Got your back,
Hopefully,
Johnny.
you know what I mean.
I heard he's coming back to movies too.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp's
Disney sucks. They
He's a
heard
good
that
man.
the Psycho says something, and right away,
he's a
Drop
pretty
him.
he's a pretty good actor to do a swing from like Jack Sparrow to do the dude Donnie Brasco
and Whitey Bulger.
and then
And then he did the secret
Fear and
window.
Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done some wildly
Alice in
different
Wonderland,
Edward
Charlie and Chocolate.
Scissorhands.
Yeah.
Like he's done some wildly different roles, and in everything he's like, "Yep, this is legit."
I can't
I'm
get
watching
enough
this
of
guy
that
right
man.
now.
That's why I married a mini version.
Fuck you, Amber Heard. I don't know what your problem is.
Amber Turd.
Yeah, whatever. Your life just got ruined. Everybody on the planet hates you except for like 5% of these people who are on your side.
Yeah,
Might not
right.
even that
Idiots.
much.
Yeah,
You are
for sure.
idiots. And anyway, until next week, guys, get your hooshies off.